Hey folks, today's coffee and carving show is a little bit of a departure from what I'm used to doing. Today we're going to be talking to a gentleman who I actually met at an art show probably, 5 years ago now. He is truly a Renaissance man. I don't know of a person who works harder than this gentleman, and I think you'll see why we're doing this podcast remotely today. So I'll be taking you through his masterwork, and we'll do a little show and tell, and then we'll have a conversation afterwards. But I hope you enjoy this kind of wide-ranging conversation about my friend John Bertolini. Let's get into it. Hello? First we have to find him. Hey.
Well, welcome.
Wow. How's it going?
You're in the basement.
What's going on? You got your coffee?
Yeah, you want a cup of coffee?
Sure. It smells good in here.
You haven't been here for a while.
No, it's been a minute. Alright, so if you're wondering why on earth I am doing an interview of John and Jackie and showing you their house, it's because this home is their little retirement project. And along with building this 10,000 square foot masterpiece of a home, they also updated their cottage up north. They did a variety of other building projects to fund this structure. So thinking about the sheer work that went into this home, and also the fact that there were no sort of loans taken out. There's no mortgage on this house. They just paid as they could afford to develop it. It's really made of auctioned off doors and recycled materials, reclaimed materials. I think you'll get an appreciation for the ingenuity and craftsmanship as you walk through this house, understanding that it's really not so much a structure it's not opulent. It's not something that is braggadocious. It's really something of what you can do with ingenuity, hard work, and knowing where to find the appropriate resources, the materials. So John is a testament to, in my eyes, the fact that building a home and the architecture, it's a really interesting hands-on form of sculpture. And so that's why I wanted to show you guys this beautiful home, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. I really appreciate John. He helped me build this studio space that we're in right now, and I've appreciated his hard work and incredible craftsmanship and artistry, along with Jackie's amazing help as well. So let's get into it. Looks good in here.
You're in control.
Wow.
Well, you've been here before, but everything's built in.
It's all black walnut.
That's all black walnut.
That was cut down from a 42-inch tree
42-inch tree.
and air dried for 8 years.
Amazing.
And they're all cedar lined.
Wow. Down to the bow tie.
Check out all cedar lined.
That makes for nice smelling clothes. How cool.
And Donna painted that picture.
Oh, that's a nice one.
That's a view, and that's exactly what it looked like with a snapshot.
Wow.
It was the weirdest day.
Now sunset.
Didn't even look real.
That's beautiful. So, we can talk more about the history of this house, but just so folks know, you had someone build this for you, right? You guys
We
paid
did.
millions for this.
We did. Starting in 2004, John rented an excavator, and we dug the hole, and then we started from there.
Laid all the blocks.
So you didn't pay someone to build the house? You did it yourself?
Did everything ourselves.
You know the answer to that question.
Right.
This is all wire lath.
Walk in there. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
weighs quite a bit, so when you go in the basement, you have to see the
Tall
LVL
this
timbers that are supporting the weight.
And these, oh my goodness.
How does
Those light fixtures came from Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah. I always forget. Is it our room lighting? Yeah.
They were,
They got them off a ship. They're actually hurricane.
more black walnut cabinets built in. Both sides. His and hers.
So was this Home Depot or?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's where we got all of our stuff.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have to tease you guys. Because I know, this was all raw lumber.
And that little thing is the operation.
I don't know, 100 times maybe?
That's operation for slivers. For working in
Oh.
the wood shop, you have to have glasses and tweezers to pull the slivers out. And then here, this is pickle barrel wood from Vlasic Pickle, redwood.
Wow.
So redwood, knotty alder, cherry. I like to mix all the woods together.
That is just awesome.
Well, it
That's an
eliminates.
air handling room. There are 4 of those rooms, and air conditioning and humidification and hydronic heat up in that little storage room. More cabinets.
Yeah, wood grain.
The mirror, I like the idea of the mirror. People think you have to spend $1,000, but for $100 from a glass company, John got the glass, and then he took wood that we were storing and crafted it, and now you have a full-length mirror for
$100.
1/10 the cost.
Wow.
Sunroom, musical room, piano room,
Got your piano over here.
cantilever deck. Railing is made from aluminum solid pickets.
And you did the railing yourself, right?
That was welded.
And Universal Steel?
Yep. Let me play in their shop.
I'll let you play in the shop.
And then the
And you make
brickwork, archways.
Unreal.
Well, the story out here, of course, is we bought 3,000 square feet of tile when Miami Tile went out of business. Didn't have enough to finish the floor and make it coherent, and that meant that John came up with the wooden floor carpet look. And we like it very much because that means you only have to hydronically heat the outside perimeter. And in the bedrooms, for example, you never want heat under your bed, but you want your feet to be warm. So the whole house is hydronically heated, except under the beds and under the dining areas. And we liked the idea.
Right.
The whole house is barrier-free, meaning a wheelchair will fit through any space because we were old when we started. You can't build a house for young people. The ceilings, the ceilings are 10'4" on this level.
This is important for anybody that wants to do cabinets. This is the back of the dishwasher, so it opens up and you can access all the plumbing. Everything can be taken care of, so it's an easy way for dealing with the mechanical. And the same thing over here.
Oh, now you're just in time, fresh
Each of these doors open up. This is for the refrigeration. And so I can get in here and access the back of the refrigerator. And back in here, this is the gas for stoves. So you have access immediately to turn off and plug in. So it's a combination gas and electric. So all the mechanics are right there. And then
So nice.
for the sink, the same thing for the sink. Everything is accessible. For the for the button, vacuum button controls are there, and then all the water supplies are there.
We have two kitchens in the house, I mean, on this level. The galley and then the island kitchen, so there are two cooking surfaces.
Cabinets for access. And deep cabinets that can't be accessed above refrigerators and stoves.
Wow.
Natural handle is a knot hole.
That's awesome.
All the drawers are dovetailed.
So what did you guys,
Close.
when this was being built, you know, where did you live?
We lived in the apartment built on the end
The
of
wood shop.
the next door garage.
I looked for you in there and I couldn't find you.
That's because Lindsay lives there
That's
now.
because I was waiting for you, but I got hungry.
How many square feet is that apartment? It has three levels.
It's
a
about
kitchen and a
it's about
bath,
1,000 square feet, three floors.
and then
3 floors and it's built next to the shop, right?
it's built
Built in the shop.
in
It's built in the shop. And so you built that first. You built that structure
Right.
Right,
so that you could stay there while you worked on you built this.
right.
Right.
My playroom,
Yeah.
the pantry.
Wow.
John did all live edge shelves, and all the foodstuffs are stored.
That wash machine, all the cabinets, there's 3 screws to hold the side cabinets and the upper platform, and the wash machine just pulls out for access.
That's
So it's
cool.
that's just a portable freestanding shelves.
To be able to change it out. If you
Makes it
turn,
difficult when you do a 30-degree room.
Yeah.
Makes it hard to build all the shelves. Everything is angular.
and it's that because we angled the garage at 30 degrees so that you couldn't see the doors from the road. But all the foodstuffs in here are stored in glass canisters so that you can see what you need to replenish. And John made, of course, all the walnut cabinets, including a flour drawer. So this holds 50 plus pounds of flour and easy access.
And each floor has floor sinks. Handles are handmade.
Saves you a lot of money if you take the scrap wood and make the handle, and it sort of disappears into the cabinetry rather than standing out and making it look like a
All the drawers
hospital.
drawer faces are full inch thick.
Amazing. Wow.
And under the counter lighting.
That's awesome.
Of course, you have to have one of these, right? Ironing board.
Oh yeah.
No one irons anymore.
Should we just
We should show you
Nice.
this other bathroom to illustrate what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you're getting a glimpse of the stairway that's all redwood. But this bathroom, for example, is all barrier-free. The shower and the commode are in one area that you can walk down because we were taking care of Grandma Bertolini at the time. And we crafted this for that kind of access.
And all the tile you see were cut from 16 by 24s. So all the pieces on the
On the
floor.
floor.
The archway above your head. Come out here, the archway, all cut from 16 by 24s.
So you made these tiles
So
for larger ones.
Made everything.
And look at your control panel here. This is for your
Right.
heating.
So every bathroom has individual shut-offs for all the fixtures.
All the bathrooms have farmer sinks too. So you can bathe an infant in any bathroom in the house. Storage in this bathroom is an antique refrigerator
That's
that
cool.
we found.
Wow. It's an old ice box. And these doors, all these doors are just honking.
These came from a salvage company.
Oh yeah?
That's what, there's different doors.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
This
Richmond
is,
salvage.
some of the doors are handmade, some just came from salvage companies.
Yeah, it's a hefty door. It's right there.
That's just a,
But these alder doors are cool because they're narrow and they're over 8 feet tall.
Wow.
And so John had to make a cremone,
astragal.
an astragal, I'm sorry.
Well, don't worry. I don't know what those are.
Well, it's, yeah, this is the
The hunk of cherry.
astragal, the plate in the
Make
middle.
Let's see how thick these things are.
this is right here. This is astragal.
Okay.
It has blocking mechanism.
Okay.
That's made out of a solid piece of cherry.
Wow.
So it locks into the floor and into the ceiling. This is an example of one of the bedrooms. It's antique furniture, but we got the antique set at the Williamston Antique Market up by Lansing. And then the rest is just found stuff and pictures of relatives who were not found. They were.
You found them at
Yeah,
antique stores?
found them. This came from the
That
flea
came from
market in
flea
Armada.
market.
Wow. That's so cool.
But these are, they don't make stuff like this. This is all felt lined doors.
That's interesting.
And then this is all solid cherry. I mean, you can't buy this kind of stuff anymore.
No.
Well, and
Wow.
people won't buy it because, as you can see, it's a double bed.
Right.
But you could expand it. We just haven't.
No, it's amazing. Look at the carving in it.
Oh, I think it's a beautiful little thing. So one of the growing grandchildren can stay here, and because they're not partnered yet.
Up above you, another storage. You can reach up there. Those are solid planks of wood.
Can I? Oh, jeez
Those doors,
Louise.
yeah.
Huge.
John doesn't make anything small. I don't
And then
understand.
this is,
Don't open it. Don't open it. Don't open it.
I'm not allowed to. I'm not going to. Oh, it lights up. That's cool.
Yeah.
I won't go in there. Don't worry.
Okay. Now, do you want to go up or down?
Sure.
Well, should you do first floor, second floor, basement?
yeah, go upstairs.
Yeah, let's go up there.
All right, so all the way up, as you're going up, the stairs are ash, trees from the property that had to be felled because of the borer, the ash borer. The railings are redwood from
Pickle
the
barrel.
Plastic Pickle Company when they traded redwood barrels to stainless steel. The spindles, John bought steel and then made a paint booth to paint them.
This is where the alleyway where I grew up in downtown Detroit. My uncle's an artist, and that's a back of the garage with my grandmother's garage. And I lived there for 3 years in the 40s. And my uncle's an artist, painted all the artwork in here is all his artwork.
That's great.
It's the same backyard.
Wow.
There's the grandkids' little playroom.
That's so cute. That's awesome.
Which is official bedroom because you have egress out the balcony.
And another balcony that you
Made the rails.
you made the rails.
Chicken coop.
Chicken coops down there. It's kind of hard to see, but this is a massive room too.
Does the light work for you or against you in a room like this? Like if
It
I
works.
put
Yeah.
on the light, is that better?
Yeah. Yeah.
Another laundry room in here.
You don't go.
Oh. Okay. More of that artwork from your uncle.
Yep.
Charcoal or pencil, John?
This is Lake Michigan. So that's a view from the balsam looking out at Lake Michigan. You've been there before.
Yeah.
The Dave Branch chair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our buddy Dave.
The kitchenette.
We're getting ready for guests. My brother arrives tomorrow.
Oh wow.
He was supposed to come today, and their plane is delayed.
Oh no. Well, worked out for
The
me.
spiral stairway.
The stairway is again from the dead ash trees.
So you did the stairway.
Yes. Yes.
And trimmed with pickle barrel wood.
That's this right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Do you need light?
I think I can see pretty well.
Okay. Sometimes it works against the camera.
Fireplace is the spine of the house. Holds the roof up. Up three floors, about 50 plus feet in the air. Holds the glue lambs over your head. Holds the roof up.
The glue glams were payment for a cement job that we did at the Franciscan monastery here in the area.
Wow.
They had leftover
And they
lambs.
couldn't pay us, and they just gave us the scrap wood.
And where John had to piece another length on, right above your head, you'll see a steel plate to your left.
Behind you.
To your left. There. You can see that the lamb has been added to, and he had to fortify it with a steel plate.
Wow.
He made, of course.
Right. Wow. Another sink up here, live edge. I remember when you made that. And you've got another furnace room over here, right?
Yes.
Down this hall. Of course, everyone needs a nice catwalk to the furnace room.
I think there's four. Are they on the dolly?
No. That header board above the windows over there and that bump out. On Mother's Day, there was a tree cut down by the county. We picked up about a 18-20 foot length of ash, and that's a tree from Mother's Day. And about how many years ago was that? Probably 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So this fireplace is the structure, the main kind of structure, or the...
The fireplace doors. I made the fireplace doors.
Yeah, John, at the same place he made the railings.
The railings?
He learned to weld, and so he fabricated the handles and the doors.
Wow.
The other one.
Well, I guess I opened them both. Did a great job.
Close
Yeah.
the other one.
I see now. Takes me a while.
Timbers came from Upper Peninsula. I brought them back in my dump truck.
These here?
Yep. And the ones on the bridge. those archways aren't for looks. They actually cut the span loads down like a big truss.
What is the span up there, John?
Those are 44-foot long glue labs. And the timber frame around the door behind you,
Yeah.
timber frame around the door helps support the bridge.
How cool is that?
Because
It's so thick.
the wall behind it only allowed 2 inches for the beam to rest on, so I had to make a timber frame to help support the bridge.
That's cool.
They weren't long enough
Wow.
to go into the fireplace and go into the wall. So it's actually part of the structure to hold the bridge up.
How cool. And John's sister pressed these tiles, right?
Yeah, she gathered plants from the property, took them home, made the ceramic tiles, and then we put them in the wall and decorated the bathroom to match them.
All tile in here.
And John cut all of these from leftover tile so that we weren't wasting anything. You can buy them, but it's better not to waste. And the mirror over the sink is an antique headboard that a friend of ours found, and John only had to trim it by 1/4 of an inch for it to fit there instead of buying a standard mirror. And the cabinet is 3 different kinds of wood, and my mistake as the stain, he told me to use something and I thought I had it, and so it has lots of shading going on because it's different colors. This shower has a step, but this is another very large room where multiple things can be going on for a family at one time, and nothing is restricted. There's space behind the tub, so whoever's cleaning the home can do it very easily.
Right.
There are 2 bedrooms up here. Both decorated with furniture gifted to us, or payment as a job, or somebody's leftover surprise, or an antique chair someone gave and I had it reupholstered. Or like, this is a good example, this Art Deco lamp was a throwaway because it was a set of 12 that came out of a Detroit hotel, and they broke some so they couldn't use all 12, and they were going to throw the rest away, and that's how we got it.
Oh.
You can't buy them.
Right.
You cannot buy them.
Another bedroom in here.
You can tell that room has children in mind, kind of. Oh, the windows are patterned after the Meadowbrook Mansion, and they went on auction because they did not work as exterior windows for a job. And so the woman returned them, and we picked them up at the auction at Dillman and Upton.
Wow.
And the transoms I made, the letter glass transoms.
Up above, yeah, John made the transoms to sort of complement the windows and let air flow.
Oh, so that means it opens.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what you meant by trans door or
Transom.
Trans window.
Transom is an overhead windowed or a movable part of the door so that you can let air.
So it's not a bisexual window?
I don't think so.
Okay. Wow. Amazing. So that gets the airflow going.
Well, it gets hot.
Let's go down the elevator.
Okay, elevator.
Oh, yeah. Need you guys down.
Forgot about this. Because every home needs an elevator.
They do if you're getting older.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yes.
This
Or
is-
if you want to
made all the angle brackets.
Bring furniture or anything upstairs. Who wants to carry that all upstairs?
Yeah, true. You can carry all kinds of heavy stuff. What is the weight load capacity?
We even brought the
4 or 5 pounds.
piano.
Oh, what is it? Oh, come on, tell me.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but you've put a lot of weight in it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Probably overloaded it.
Well, you were walking on it, so it took care of it.
That was a fat joke. How dare you? Alright.
Jackie's gonna move some plants, so I brought that up. There you go, hop in.
Alright. I love elevators.
There you go.
Do you have someone service this thing ever?
Yeah, I built the outside of it, and the elevator company came in and installed the pistons and the hydraulics and the cart, and then it had to be state inspected.
Wow.
So this it goes up 3 floors.
Wow. So now we're going to the basement?
You haven't been here in a while.
I haven't seen this. I thought I had, but I don't think I have. At least I didn't see the finish on it.
Yeah, that's a plaster mix combination of 2 sand, 1 cement, 1 lime, and then over top of block wall, and then primed, and then a hand rubbed old world stain, and then blotted to make it look like you know, something from the old world. Church door for Von Clemens. And it wasn't big enough, so I added on both sides to make it 36 inches, so it's barrier free.
That door is so heavy,
Is it?
and it was so old.
And then this is a curtain to cover the window for privacy.
But of course, there's a window in the hallway in the back.
It's a big cutting board. And then a fake timber. Make it look like
The only fake thing in the house. You have a medieval toilet bowl.
Medieval, he says.
yeah, here. We'll even flush it for you.
Sure.
Oh, I'm good. I just used it. Wow.
We framed all the window with 3/4 inch tile that came from the wedding venue hall. And I got when my tile went out of business, I bought all these tiles, they're 2 foot by 2 foot, cut them all down, and made them fit on the window in the shower door, in the threshold. So that all came from 2 foot by 2 foot tiles. Every bathroom has 5 shower heads.
So does mine.
And the glass block, just so you can talk about lighting, it's important. The light from the door wall comes through the glass block, goes through the door, and then illuminates this section. The light from this one goes through here, and illuminates from here, so you have light coming from that window, through here, through there, so it's all natural lighting.
Theoretically.
It's all about the light.
Well, down in the basement, you have to create light, so the choice of floor to reflect.
So speaking of wood carving,
Yes.
you You carved the panels to make these tiles.
Well, you did one of them.
I did one of them.
There are
Which
8.
one did you do? Let's see. We did one with the Browder. I think it was this one here.
This one.
This one here.
Yeah, that's the one we did first. And then I did the rest just with a chisel.
All of these panels. And then he used the copper. He used the carvings to pound copper around them.
Right, that's a drop ceiling, so
get
all the
these-
plumbing from the bathroom upstairs that's accessible.
Wow. Oh, look at this table.
You haven't seen that.
You just made this, huh?
Yes, he did.
It's got, I'm putting
Wow.
some more coats on yet. I'm not done with it.
8 feet long, 42 inches wide. The feet
Apple
came.
Creek Casting comes out of Ohio, so you can go online and find the company. They have all kinds of aluminum cast to make it look like cast iron, but it's aluminum cast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you
So
can
it's
actually,
not as heavy.
you can move it, yeah.
And he just made this one too, out of a French
That's fun.
wine barrel.
That's fun.
Check the legs out.
Yeah.
And the wheels.
Oh, you
came
got the
from-
wheels.
At a flea market, they're wooden wheels.
That's cool. Wooden wheels.
It's not even more work.
What about this door?
The door,
The Nuremberg
I
door.
can drive my skid loader to the basement and bring all the tile in. It's 2 1/4 inches thick.
2 1/4 inches thick. That seems right. It's about what my doors are, I think.
John's proud of that door. He likes that door. He
Yeah.
likes the way he trimmed it out.
It's amazing. Look at that. And that's alder, that door?
Yeah, nothing older.
Wow.
Upstairs is cherry.
And we calculate in the last 18 months, he has run all of this trim wood through the mill because it was all raw wood. So all the belting and the trim wood, everything, this basement.
You know
he started-
Strobel, right? Strobel gas station?
Mm-hmm.
This house is down the street.
That's where I
This
grew
is
up.
A piece of white oak that came from a tree that was in his driveway.
Wow. How cool.
Everything has a story.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
Porthole came from Savannah, Georgia. That's a clean out for the sewer line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you clean
My
it?
daughter saw that. She walked in here and she went, all right, what's the
So
porthole
that
for?
opens up and there's a cap in there to clean out, so you can.
A clean out stack.
What does that mean? For your sewage?
So if the sewer line gets plugged up,
Yeah.
you can snake it out from there.
Oh, cool.
And you don't have to
And you even have,
dig a hole or
Yeah.
break out the floor or
right.
it's all there.
Okay. Pretty, wow.
Because who wants to mess with trying to dig up whatever's on this floor? Right?
No, no. Here's another branch, right?
Oh my God. Yes,
That's-
there are 4 of them.
This is all from one tree, right? One black walnut tree.
That one is carved to fit his body. Nobody else fits.
That's
And
cool.
he admits that.
Yeah. Wow. Look at this.
Actually, got the idea from that sink. I figured if they could carve a sink like that, I could carve and make ceiling tiles out of copper. So, of
So
course, that's
cool.
done with machine probably. And
Yep.
CNN. What do they call it? Not CNN.
CNC.
CNC. Yeah.
CNN could have been involved, I guess. I doubt it though. Then there's another
This is Dave Brandt's chair.
chair. Wow, that one's. I've not seen this one.
We had a wedding here last summer, and so the lighted wall was part of the decorations, and I thought it was nice.
He did a great job with this one. That's
Do you like
beautiful.
that one? That's
Yeah,
very
yeah. I've never seen. It's very what you said.
young.
That came from Bruce's friend next door.
I want to sit in it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
comfy.
It is comfortable.
That's pretty comfy. Wow.
It's a piece of cottonwood, huge
But-
cottonwood tree. So you're sitting on the stump part, that's the stump part, and the tree would be upside down. So you can
Wow. That's a
And You're
beautiful.
not a tall man, so for that to be comfortable for you is saying something. That's a big chair.
Yeah, and he's what? He's 6 foot something.
Yeah.
The guy who made it.
Yeah, and he's long and lanky.
Yeah.
He said that there wasn't enough character in the wood when he finished it to leave it.
It's kind of a whitewash poplar, has no color, no grain.
Yeah.
So that's why he did it, to make it
So
look
he
metallic.
he had it painted metallic.
You had someone do it?
He did have someone paint it.
Cool. Yeah, it's very cool. And this room is
Isn't this funny?
amazing. Wow.
So-
Seeing the tile in. So last time I was here, this wasn't done. You guys tiled this entire room.
We started.
Oh my gosh.
6 weeks.
This whole space.
6 weeks to do this.
That's really not that bad.
And it's not finished yet.
We have
We
to
have to seal it, clean
seal
it.
it.
Uh-huh.
It's waiting for warm weather so we can open the doors to
Yep.
toxic fumes.
Right.
So,
Wow. More leather wall. How cool. That turned out so neat.
Doesn't it look
Wow.
leathery? Yeah. You're the second or third person that.
It almost has the look of cork too.
Oh, you're right. The color.
Like wood, like a wooden cork. It's so nice.
One of the things I like about that application is that when you're using so much live edge, it's very difficult to paint up next to it or to seal up next. So John caulked,
Right.
and then this application just
and in caulk, I actually
grouted,
ran the cement right in.
and then he
in-
ran the cement
I,
under it.
I left the wood, the proud out.
Yeah.
So there was room for the cement to go in.
Okay.
And then when I slopped the cement onto the wood, which was, it's going to happen,
Yeah.
the stain that's on the plaster is
Matched.
complementary to the stain that's on the wood.
Wow.
So I just ran over top of anything after I rubbed it off and put the color back to the wood so it looks,
So that was your kind of a happy accident.
yeah. And then that door goes in the boiler room.
Yeah, we got to
You
see the
wanna go in
boiler.
there?
Definitely.
All right, so this.
By the way this is framed out is absolutely insane. And look at it compared to my hand. So, is this where you keep the submarine, John?
I call it the submarine. It's too bad that hose is hanging here, but he has. What's he doing?
Yeah, it's really distracting.
Yeah, it is. But this is, of course,
It's
the
fine. It's amazing.
workings of the whole house,
Wow.
so that the floors can be heated. Let me get out of your way.
Right. Amazing.
Check that little
Oh,
door came from my classroom at Alec, Lincoln,
your classroom, huh?
my biology lab room. And
It's the only place in the house where you can see the manifolds.
Yeah, very cool.
Just.
Oh, another chair.
This one's called Waiting with Children. Sit in that one.
Yeah. This is also out of one piece, right?
Yes.
Huge, huge chair. Yeah, and that one's really cozy.
But you put two kids.
Got some leaves on my feet. Two kids. I got one kid here.
Yeah, and
And
you
one
read.
kid here.
You read a story. It's called Waiting with Children.
Yeah. My kids. Oh wow, another kitchen.
Yeah, with a live edge counter and built-in storage below, and everything in the house for storing dishes is all drawers. So you're not reaching up on a shelf, you reach into a drawer for any dishes. This is an access panel behind the kitchen counter. And this is an example of that 30 degrees again, so John made a pantry here. I think this is real cute.
It is.
And then watch. And the handle is a little novel.
Unreal. It's beautiful. Just amazing. More of that redwood. Yes, so we're in the vast space that is the corner of your basement. And I appreciate you guys showing me around and showing everyone around. It's an unbelievable space.
It's an obnoxious tour.
The obnoxious tour is what Jackie always calls it.
but the thing is that anybody can do this.
Yeah, just anyone.
Anybody can do it.
Unless they're incapacitated.
No. I mean, that's the problem with people today. They think that they can't do it. And if a man can do it, then you can do it.
Yeah. And that's your attitude. I feel like
That's it. And what's the worst can happen?
Right.
You make a mistake and you do it again. Wow. In fact, that's how you learn. So you just keep on doing it, keep on making mistakes, and eventually you get to a point where it looks somewhat good, and that's all this is. Full of mistakes. Just, seriously.
So what keeps you going?
It's a drive. Can't explain it. It's just something that's somehow genetically, turned on and you can't turn it off.
Right.
It's a warp.
It's a warp.
It's a warp in the force.
I think it's how you're grown up and what your parents did. My dad was a self-made man, and he wasn't very educated. And he took a house that was being slated to be torn down on I-94. So this is back in post-war World War II.
Right.
And there weren't too many expressways throughout the country. And so this was the beginning of the interstates. And 94 was being built through Detroit. And he bought a house for $500. It was a 3-story brick home. And as he was tearing it down, people came by and he was selling parts of it off, made his $500 back.
Wow.
Took all the bricks, all the lumber, all the angle iron, and hauled it off to a lot in Warren, which was just farmland back in the late 40s, and built this house.
Wow.
I grew up standing in a trench, 3 years old, and watching it take place, and so it was just like, that's what you do. You build your own house.
Wow.
I told you, it was a warp.
Yeah.
he was damaged very early.
Yeah. So your earliest memories of your dad then, that was working on, he was building.
Well, I was the only child for 8 years.
Oh.
So
your helper.
In that 8-year time, the house went from nothing to, a house that had finally some kind of covering. It was plastered. And he started plastering the house himself.
Wow.
And at that time, you mixed the lime and the plaster mix and horsehair into the scratch coat. So you actually had bags of horsehair. And that was like a fiber that helped hold it together. And there was a lath wire that was put on. It was post lath wood strips, because that's how they used to do it. And then they developed lath wire, and it was actually called plasterboard. 16 inches by 4 foot rock lath. It was plasterboard, and that's what the base was. And put your scratch coat on, and then a final coat. And so he plastered the house. And
the interior, the walls.
Interior.
That's how the walls were done.
Yeah, so prior to that, we lived with stud walls and insulation, and then rock lath for probably a year, and then finally plaster,
Wow.
So by the time we had potbelly stove at first, and for the potbelly stove, you're sitting there in the wintertime, and your face is burning up and your backside's freezing.
Yeah.
And then we got a forced air furnace in the living room, and then he finally put in a boiler system. We had hydronic heat.
So he did hydronic.
Yeah, well, it's hydronic baseboard. So
Okay.
it's like hot water baseboard throughout the house.
Right, right.
So they have radiators, and that's post the freestanding radiator. Well, they would have hot water and or steam, like a steam, and a lot of the schools went to a school that was built in the 20s, and they had radiators in each room. And if you were lucky or unlucky to be seated in a aisleway that was right next to the radiator, you were cooking, because it was hot.
Right.
And that's how we grew up.
Uneven heat.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
So anyway,
That's
that's
amazing.
what got me started, and then
Yeah.
at 22 years old, after I finished college and started teaching for a while, bought a piece of property out here off of Lakeville Road, and at 24 years old, built my first house. And it just started, just without any real skills. In a college prep course, you didn't take shop classes and metal classes and those kind of things, because you're taking math classes and geometry and physics and chemistry and that. So I think the only shop class I had was seventh grade, a 10-week class in shop, and that was it.
Wow.
And a 10-week course in drafting, and that was it. And then the rest of it was a Reader's Digest how-to book back in the 70s, and that showed you how to do everything. And all you do is read it, and then if that didn't work, you worked with tradespeople and picked up the skill just watching them, and eventually
No YouTube.
Right.
it's kind of I would say like the
I know.
the homeschool stuff.
Right.
I mean, if that's the way I actually learned. It was homeschooling with contractors, and working with a guy who knew how to shingle a roof, working with somebody who knew how to do siding, working with cement people, with bricklaying people, with electrical people, with plumbing people, and then you just watch and learn, and then develop all the skills.
So you would take jobs with folks that did all of that stuff.
I'm sorry.
You would take jobs with people who did that
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd work with an electrician. You'd work
Right.
with a plumber.
Just work with those people, or in the first house, I actually had a friend who was an electrician.
Yeah.
This Rich's brother, and he came over and helped me wire the first house. And he showed me all the tricks for three-way wiring and all that stuff. So I learned wiring from him. I hired a Polish guy that lived in my neighborhood. He was a bricklayer. For every 10 bricks he laid, he drank a beer. And so between Frank and Kapelchik and George Priest, who was a friend of mine, I would say they went through a case of beer a day, for real.
Wow.
But I learned how to do arches from him. I learned how to lay brick, and then so watching him, then I bricked the house myself.
Wow.
So I learned from so that's the bricklayer. And then I hired a drywaller to drywall the house. I hung everything, and I hired a guy to do the taping. And so he showed me how to tape, and I went into the bathroom and taped everything up and finished it. And he was watching. He was really pissed off. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Because he showed me how to do it, and he says, "I've been doing this for 5 years, and you did it just like I did."
I love that.
So I mean, he showed. That's what you do. It's pretty simple. I can do that.
Yeah.
So I learned.
So you had this natural ability with your hands, off the bat. You had to, have the ability to use your hands.
I think there was some, skill sets because ice skating came easy, skiing came easy,
Right.
Yeah.
water skiing came easy. The first time I went water skiing, they asked me to do a skier salute. So that means you stand on one ski and pick your other ski up, hold it in front of you, and so they said, "Drop the ski." I dropped the ski, and I never skied on 2 skis again. So that was the first day I water skied.
Wow.
He wouldn't notice this, but when I first met him, I remember watching him walk and work. And the thing that struck me was that this man was completely balanced. And when he worked, he would often use his legs and the trunk of his body, and then it would come out his hands. And when he would get on the backhoe, it was the same thing. He'd be sitting there in the chair and working the backhoe, and the machine became an extension of his arms. And you could tell, I didn't know anything about machines, so you could tell just by watching that's like wood carving. There had to be some talent there, or you would never have been able to do.
It wouldn't have been fun if it
what
if
you
it
do.
was
Yeah,
all
some of it
started.
had to be had to just come naturally and be part of who you are.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense.
Well, not all intelligence is doing calculus.
Thank God.
You really?
And there are some people that can do all that fancy stuff, and they can't put a screwdriver into the screw head to make it work.
Yeah.
But they can do miraculous things with mathematics and whatever, and so there's different degrees of intelligence, I guess.
Another form of
So
thinking.
I was never a really good student. I was
And yet you were a teacher.
Yeah, well, I didn't like teaching.
So you did it.
I didn't like school.
Well,
Yeah.
he's also dyslexic, non-diagnosed. But when you work with John, I mean, you never really know if he's going to start directions from the finish, the middle, or someplace in between.
I wonder
But
if that
it's
helps you.
Not at the beginning. It helps him.
Yeah.
Because he can think inside
yes.
out.
Just like you, I see the finished product before I start. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know.
And everybody else wants to think linear.
So like Aaron and Tracy next door on a pole barn, and so I see the whole thing already done. What they see is a slope of the hill and some grapevines.
Right.
And
Right.
And how many
how to
tools
position it in there. So just like when you see a piece of wood, you have to realize that there's stuff that in the way, and so you peel it away so you can see the face.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's basically, this doesn't belong here. I'm
Right.
taking this off.
Exactly.
And there you go, and before you know it, there's a
Right.
face there.
Right.
Because you can see that face and stuff's in the way. Get it out of the way.
Right. So for you, there's almost this impulse to see the thing.
I saw this all finished
Yeah.
before I started.
That's cool.
A vision of it.
Wow.
And then when you start doing it, the vision becomes really clear. It's kind of a fuzzy vision,
Right.
but then when you put it up, it's, oh yeah, that's what I was doing, but wow,
Yeah.
it really looks good.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, it comes into clarity. It's like, it's not perfectly
It's
crystal.
almost like coming into focus.
Right.
When it's finally done, it's all in focus.
Yeah.
But the basic concept is there.
That happens to you too?
Yeah, I mean, you do have to, for me it changes sometimes, but I mean, naturally it has to. But yeah, you do have, the thing is, if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know, if you're not intimately familiar with the end point, then the piece will lack because of that, Like if, you could start without knowing what you're doing, but you can't finish.
Yes.
You can kind of aimlessly carve and get an approximate shape, but you can't fully realize the carving. You can't make it really good without really knowing what the end is going to be like.
Okay.
So for me, a lot of times that's having the reference, like looking at a picture. And if you're able to visualize it, then you have that picture. And the more you do that, you flex the ability to hold on to that picture in
Well,
your head.
I think that's exactly what happens by, going to ski lodges, going to Europe, going to see a coliseum and seeing archways and seeing all that stuff. So all those pictures are in your brain.
Yeah.
And so when it
Right.
comes for an archway,
Yes.
I saw an archway, I can make an archway like that. But if I didn't see the archway first, I wouldn't have had any clue. And seeing the timbers and seeing coffer ceilings. We were in, where the heck was that? Where we took the picture of that ceiling in,
Ashford Castle, Ireland.
could have been Ireland, that's one of the places where they had ceilings. But
Yeah.
The other one was,
there's a coffee shop or something in,
it was the walled city, Regensburg,
Yeah.
in Germany.
In Germany. And so,
well, you're sitting in a courtyard that was covered with a roof. And so there's a restaurant that has a timber that's like this timber, but it's a tree. And the tree is probably 18 inches wide and 2.5 feet, and it goes all the way through, and it's sagging because it was built in the 1400s. But that was the ceiling, and then when you walked out of that restaurant bar into the courtyard, they covered that, and you're sitting there in 3 stories and glass above you, and it's just breathtaking.
Wow.
It's just it's breathtaking. And so all those pictures become filed away, and then when you start doing something, it's I can do something like that, Or if you're looking at a picture of a woman's face or whatever, and that pops in, and you start carving it, and that memory comes back, and it's transferred to your work.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of looking. A good point too is you take a lot from life. I mean, unintentionally, I end up carving my wife. Unintentionally, I end up carving my dad.
Yeah.
My friends have said, "Well, that looks a lot like me, that carving," and it was news to me. And it does actually kind of, I'll notice that the carving will resemble a friend that I'm spending time with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes.
It's
so
from memory, and
right.
so.
It also makes sense.
Right.
That there's that connection is there with all of your life experiences and the way that you choose to express them.
Right. My wife thinks it's creepy that there are people who have statues of her face, and there will continue to be hundreds of people in the future with carvings of my wife's, inspired by my wife's face. She's like, who would want? Why would that?
Well, there are famous artists who did that.
A lot of times too, when you look at people, and you look at their partner, you can see the similarity.
Yep.
It's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
A lot of times that person is just like.
They'll take after.
It's uncanny.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find, it's very unusual to find a couple that's really totally
right.
Oops.
Yeah. You too. I've heard that couples, as they spend time together, though, they start to, because they experience similar things in life, at least as close as you can get to another person, your expressions might be closer to being matched, and therefore the muscles in your face contort.
A lot of times the gestures.
And you can look similar, right? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, the gestures, the expressions too. That's a great
verbal
point.
Expressions.
Yeah.
And the way that you approach whatever you're going to do together, because you've learned to. I like it in the kitchen. I call it bumping butts, but I'm left-handed, John's right-handed. It doesn't seem to get in the way because we just sort of circle around each other.
Yeah.
And it feels really good while you're working.
That's handy. And then you start to look like each other, even in some ways, I think.
Well, that's called getting old.
I don't think this is.
Well, not you guys in particular, but
no.
They end up looking like
no.
Couples do, I think, maybe. That's the theory. I don't know why would people say that they end up buying dogs that look like them to some extent.
I've heard that before. The breed has habits or characteristics.
Right.
I think that's your first.
Are you still dog watching?
No. So we were for a while. Her account is still open, but we took a long hiatus, and that's affecting the app's promotion of our dog watching days. So it's been muted for it's reduced for a while, but we'll probably end up watching more. But yeah, you can definitely you can see the timidity of a person in their dog. When someone drops a dog off, if they're very shy and quiet, and their dog is standing there.
Yeah, or the anxiety,
shaking, looking up at you. Or you have a dog that's just so friendly, and then you get the guy comes to pick it up, and he's the nicest guy. And you do wonder if they pick up after their parents. My dog, mostly taken care of by my mom and dad, I should say, but. Was just so chill, so laid back, calm.
Well, we talk about dogs, how about birds? Donna, our neighbor, has a bird that talks, African gray.
Wow.
Her phone was sitting there.
In the kitchen. And
I'm not sure. The bird actually imitates her voice, okay?
It used to imitate Frank's voice and her mother's voice.
Right, but I think it's imitating even Donna's voice now, and she's not aware of it because she was in her bedroom getting dressed. The phone was by the bird, and Donna called me.
Oh my gosh!
We think it was the
bird. The bird said, "Call John."
Oh my gosh!
And it called me and it rang, and I answered it, and I hear the bird chirping in the back.
Oh my!
And so I hung up. And I called Donna back, and she came after about 8 rings. Came back to the phone. I said, "Did you call me?" "What, Donna? No, I'm getting in the bedroom getting dressed." And your bird called me.
I wouldn't put it past. I mean, it makes sense. These phones are very much voice activated, right?
Yeah.
So.
And that bird It sounds like Donna's voice, sounds like Frank's voice.
Wow.
And her mom's.
And the mom's voice. I mean, it is uncanny.
Unbelievable.
Well, they're mimics. They're
I've heard that I don't know about parrots, but I know that I think it's ravens or
Yes,
crows
ravens.
have a larger, have a higher brain to body mass ratio than humans.
crows and ravens.
Right. And
Well, they can imitate all kinds of sounds and other birds. You know.
Right. Ants apparently, there are some ants that have a higher brain to body mass ratio than humans do. So we think we're the top of the food chain as far as intelligence, but those ants are doing some complicated
We're
building.
somewhere near the
Oh, look at
bottom.
dolphins. Look at dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah.
We can't
Amazing.
clean ourselves, clothe ourselves, house ourselves. We have to have all this crap to keep us warm, fed, and safe. I
I don't
know.
know. Yeah. Maybe we think a little too highly of ourselves sometimes, but
We do.
So anyway, that's the story.
Yeah.
And you know, back to the amount of wood that's in this house. Most of it was
yeah.
cut from timber and slabbed and air dried. And I was fortunate enough to be at the right place at the right time. And Glen Wing Power Tools was getting a consignment from a family that had lost 3 generations of the woodworkers, and they
Nelson.
unloaded their supplies to Jeff to be sold off at consignment. And so I loaded all that stuff up for him in my dump truck and trailer and skid loader, and brought it back to his shop. And I said, wait a minute, what do they want for all this? And it turned out that it was a price that was the same price that I had, and I sold all my equipment and traded it in for all that equipment, which was an upgrade times 10.
Wow.
And allowed me to have joiner, that 17-inch joiner that's 10 feet long that will flatten all my boards, and planers that was 18-inch planer. So those two things allowed me to take plank wood that was air dried and turn it into furniture grade.
And what about the bandsaw?
We also had a bandsaw. It's a 36-inch bandsaw. You can cut trees with it.
36-inch bandsaw.
Then I
it's
had a 36-inch
And
sander.
that's talking about the
The
opening.
no, talking about how far it is from the neck.
Oh, from the neck.
Yep.
So you
and
can cut
also
a 30, oh my
would cut
gosh.
almost 20 inches tall.
Right,
So
right.
that allow you to do, for instance, a tabletop and cut a round tabletop.
Right.
By putting a pivot point. If it's 36 inches, all you need is 18 inches, and put a pivot point and go around, and you cut a circle.
Right, right.
He's also bringing up the importance of networking. When you find what you really are interested in, and you make yourself available to people who are already working those skills, then they remember them. They remember you, and they call you up and say, "Hey, would you like, or are you interested in, or do you have?" And that works. And then that makes you look very lucky because you're able to do a project like this for pennies on the dollar if you're willing to
If you're willing to work.
go to
Right.
auctions, salvage,
Yeah.
and scavenge. And if you're lucky enough to find a woman who will go along with that craziness, and
I was thinking about this. Not most people wouldn't.
then
Wouldn't be able to hang at least.
Well, you have to put up with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a heck of a endeavor, and it's only taken 18 years.
Yeah.
This whole project has taken 18 years.
Well, you've explained it to me before. For every project you do in this house, to pay for it, there have been a few others, right?
Oh, right. I've done 10 times the work,
Right.
well, there was the
create
stable
this.
job
Right.
of teaching, there was the extracurricular construction company, then there were the jobs for other people, and then there was this job.
Then the mafia. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we don't know any. They don't wait 18 years. So yeah, and so we were both working, and you got kids. And
It's
so
just,
the
I
thing-
guess people
Yeah.
do interesting things. Instead of buying a jet boat and jet skis, we'll buy a table saw. All right. Now the jet skis you can have fun with, but the table saw can cut the wood.
Right.
Instead of buying an ATV, car or whatever, or some kind of a hot rod or a convertible, I'll buy a skid loader.
Yeah.
And then that thing, will do jobs for you. And then it also does the job for you here. So it's just it's a spin-off.
You're investing in things that will make you money.
Right. Or save you labor.
Right.
And save you.
Save your back. I mean,
save your back.
Right.
go take a stump out with a shovel and an axe, which I did on my first house.
Oh.
I moved next door to an engineer, and he got me into simple machines. I watched him hook up his bumper to a pulley, and the pulley went to another pulley, and he's going in this direction, and the tree is going in that direction. I mean, so he showed me how you can change the angle and all that, with the combination of pulleys, and so
Economical
and
force.
then I, did the same thing with come-alongs and pulleys and leverage, and took all the trees out without any machines. And so that lasted just so long. I said, "That's it." But the fact of the matter is, that's how people
Did it?
did it back here. They had stone bolts and oxens and whatever, and were able to move trees and move big boulders and all that stuff, so without machinery. But then with the machines, it makes it so much easier.
Right.
But it
But
can,
even
it can be
upstairs,
done.
even upstairs, John said we'll use simple machines to put these beams in.
Yeah, we just,
So we
tripods
use
and company,
Lever and
yeah,
incline
all
and pulley.
all that bridge work and everything was done with the two of us.
There you go.
I mean, it can be done.
It's amazing.
So
That might be another thing too. Considering our age, mid-70s, I'm being kind, right? We enjoy work. I mean, that's a form of fun only because it's the way we grew up. And there's this sense, you get this sense of confidence. I hear a lot of people talking about, well, this child doesn't have confidence. Well, they don't get to do anything. They sit at home and wait for mom and dad to come home. And to be safe, they have to stay in the house. So they're not outside playing. They're not interacting with the world or nature. They're not, and they have a game that they're playing. So it's all artificial. There was this sense of confidence you got by doing things and doing things for other people. And work became a kind of fun. And so you don't get bored. Because once you're in it,
yeah, a lot of people say, I don't want to work that hard. Well then.
well, it is hard, but it's fun.
But I want what you have, but I don't want to work for it.
Okay.
But that's not the way it is.
Right.
I mean, every brick on that building, I laid it, and with all the bricks that are in here, we laid it together,
Yeah.
Jackie is laboring and giving me bricks. And and that's
Or tile.
Yeah, and tile. Yeah, the 3,000 square feet of tile on the floor.
How many pounds did we figure?
It was 17,000 pounds of tile.
Into the whole house?
No,
Just
to
in
this.
Just in the basement.
Just the
Yeah.
basement.
Oh my god.
And I must have lifted
And-
each
and
one of
there
those
was
stupid things twice or something.
5,000 pounds of thin set. So mixed in 5-gallon pails,
I hated that.
and you're mixing up with a paddle mixer, and you lay 12, 14 tiles, with each bucket, and you just keep on going. And
What did we
before-
get up to in a day? 30?
I think the most I did was like 48 in one day.
48 in one day.
48 tile.
That doesn't sound like very many.
So
And
it
it
does to me.
isn't.
They're big tiles.
They're big.
Yeah.
They're 16-inch.
I'd be very
Well,
happy
there's
with that.
1.77 square feet every tile. So if you laid 50 tile, 50 times 1.77, so it's
50
almost
feet.
it's almost 100 square feet.
Right.
Let's say 90 square feet. So it's an 8 by 10 room.
Yeah.
An 8 by 10 room a day.
That's significant.
Okay, that's the way you look at
Except
Yeah.
here, it's not significant because this is a
So massive.
what by what? A 60 by
Yeah.
30. Yeah. So
What is the footprint of this house, approximately?
Well, the roof is 8,000 square feet. There's 80 square of shingles on the roof.
What's the perimeter? What's the length of the width?
And so it's over 100 feet in one direction and 60 feet this way. You know?
Wow.
And then it's ins and outs and things, and
Yeah. Right.
it narrows at some point.
Do you think it looks that big when you drive up to it?
I think what's interesting is it looks big, but it doesn't look as colossal as when you go inside. For some reason, I think it's got
It has a plain exterior.
it has a humble exterior, not plain by any means, but it doesn't. I mean, when you walk up to it, you think this is a massive house, but then when you walk in, the openness of it. But the thing is about the way you built it, it's very open and it feels spacious, but it doesn't feel in the high ceilings. It doesn't feel like claustrophobic. It doesn't feel so expansive that it's cold. It still feels warm. I think it's the natural materials and the way that you guys did the coves and separated things, but still had openings with archways, and it doesn't feel like over the top. It still feels homey somehow. Even though, I mean, this has got to be in excess of 10,000 square feet. Right?
It is.
It's huge.
We tell everybody, you can stay in the house as long as we begin to hear the words warm, cozy, inviting, unpretentious. I mean, any of those things will work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, hasta la vista. I mean, there's no, people who walk in here don't think of, I don't think they come out thinking that there's a lot of wealth here.
Yeah.
What there is,
There's no wealth.
there is a lot of
There's a lot of swag
creativity
equity,
here.
you know.
But there's nothing you can steal.
Right.
Yeah, it's all hand-me-down.
It's all.
Unbelievable. And you actually passed that ethic down to me with the shop, building
Your studio?
the studio, and so when I first met you early on, not when I first met you, but maybe a year or two into meeting you, I was telling you about my plans to buy a Home Depot shed, drag it onto my property, and then insulate the interior, put paneling in the interior.
What was his reaction?
Have a workshop. No.
That's what he
No,
said?
no. You're going to build it from scratch. It's not hard. You can do it. You can do it with less money. You can have exactly the shop that you want. And all of these buildings, they have 6 foot, wall height, high walls, and there's just not enough headroom to work.
What did you end up with?
You could build it to 8 feet, and then a vaulted ceiling, so it goes up to whatever 16 or 15 feet. So that I have plenty of room, clearance. I was going originally for like a 10 by 12, I think, or somewhere in there. And so, 12 by 16. You can fit it on, this side of the house. What you basically did was you showed up, most days, almost every day for a while, and you just said, all right, so today you're either going to do this or we're going to do this. And then you just kind of walked me through each step, and I would either, pour, dig holes and put the concrete in, and you'd show up and you say, all right, now we're going to build a platform. And then we built, the flooring, and then a wall was erected, and then, roof, joists, and...
That's what you should have a video of.
Yeah.
That small project.
It really isn't hard.
It was amazing how quickly it all came together in a season. A whole studio space.
Well, look at that building there.
Yeah.
That building there took 6 weeks.
Wow.
And the reason it's not done is, he's waiting for money, and he's going to side the whole thing with metal, and then, it'll be closed in and sealed. And we put the roof on in one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's your neighbor's
metal roof.
structure.
Yes.
In one day.
Yeah.
With a crew of how many people?
Oh, we had 4 or 5 people on the roof, and
Right.
and a couple people down below handing the pieces up.
So that's a neat idea. This guy next door, you built this space for him
I built the house first.
in the house. Okay. Oh, that's right. You owned that house.
Yeah, right. I built that house, which then allowed me to have a revenue after paying all the taxes and everything left over. Then I bought this piece of property and built that building. And built that building in 6 weeks. This building here also.
Because you were homeless.
Well, yeah, I had no place to go.
Yeah.
Where did you live until that point? In a
Uh,
tent?
At my house.
yeah, moved in with
Okay.
Jackie, and then drove back and forth. And then the following
So that's where
year,
Jackie comes in.
we had everything
Can I
closed
Yeah.
up. And the following year, we put heat in here, and the well was brought in, and we had
A hose.
a hose, for water.
Right.
And eventually they finished it off.
He
made the
decided I
apartment.
could stay. He needed that much help.
Yeah,
He decided maybe I should keep her for
Maybe I
a
should
little
keep it
while.
for a little while longer.
Just,
Yeah.
just
Free work, free labor. Wow. And so you build the house next door. You
And
sell it.
that paid for this property and paid for the building.
So you build a huge workshop
Right.
and an apartment 3 stories next to that, all attached, and a wood shop adjacent to
Well,
the garage.
then a couple of years later, I added on the back and made the
shop.
actual
Okay.
shop area.
All right.
And then a couple of years later, I added on the back, on the side over there for storage.
3 sheds.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, altogether,
Originally, this was just going to be an outbuilding for him to store his backhoe and all of his stuff.
Yeah.
And then when he decided that he'd keep me for a while, he had to put in an
An
apartment.
apartment. Okay, so that was after. Okay.
Yeah, that's how
Wow.
that happened.
Wow.
So how is
Because
it?
you weren't about to live in the shop without
it was actually really comfortable.
Was it?
Yeah, the shop or the apartment?
The apartment.
The
Oh, the
apartment was
apartment is-
very comfortable.
I've been in it. It's everything's tiled. It's like to
And
the
it's
nines.
cute. It's cute. We had a good. I have a little.
It's a
booklet.
perfect tiny house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has, the
There's probably
kitchen.
as much room as your house,
Yeah.
On
because
on
there's
3 levels.
actually, a third level
With a
with
loft.
the loft. It had a queen size bed in it.
Yeah.
And then, there's 2 other bedrooms, so there's a 3-bedroom apartment.
It's probably bigger than my house actually.
And it's, basically,
It's arranged differently.
10 by 30, 10 by 36, 3 levels.
Yeah. That's big. Yeah. Thanks
How
for reminding me
So
that your
yeah,
extra
20
house
by,
is bigger
a 20
than
by
Bigger than
36,
yours?
it's the size of a trailer.
Yeah, it's long and narrow. Well, and then
Then we expanded and put a couple of throw rugs on the floor and a piano in there and some couches and a TV
Yeah.
and the big part. So now it expanded,
Right.
we did no such a damn thing. There was this first bay there. There was not enough room to entertain 30 members of the family for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that first
Well,
bay
I had-
became an
that's
extension
the thing when
of the living
schools get rid of different kinds of things.
room. Yeah.
One of the women custodian moving cafeteria tables. The table
Collapsible
collapsed
ones?
on her and hurt her because it was very heavy and very tippy. And so they had to get rid of all the tables. And they just took them out to the garbage and threw them away.
Wow.
I mean, they were just discarded.
Did we have
And so
one
I-
or 2?
So I got 2 of them.
We had 2.
And so,
But they
they're 7
do
and
this.
7, 14
Right.
feet, 14,
They open
you got 28 feet of table with the built-in benches on it. We had them laid out and we could have a party of 25, 30 people sitting in that room. And
In the garage.
We fed everybody.
Thanksgiving in the garage.
Absolutely.
Hilarious.
And Jackie's son
Ridiculous.
got married, and then we had the post-wedding in this room here. and
That
had
was unfinished.
50 people in here, and then the elderly people were unable to get out of the car, so the car pulled in to here, and then we had wheelchairs. They got out in the wheelchair and
We
sat
unloaded
down.
Grandma. I know. And they just kind of wheeled them in
Wheeled them
here.
in.
Yeah. And then they backed the car back out. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
We did do that. Oh Lord.
Wow. So, a lot of people see your beautiful home and they don't realize that you were at one, fast, rewind to this place of you being in that garage, having Thanksgiving with all the
Well,
woodworking
there's
tools.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and
Yeah.
everything, We
Right.
had a Christmas tree on there the ceilings are 14 feet tall, so we had a 14-foot tall Christmas tree with,
Oh, are you serious?
a step ladder that went all the way up, and on the step ladder, here comes the cat, Moki, up there watching us put the ornaments on the step ladder with us. And
It looked smaller out in
Yeah.
the Christmas tree field. When
Yeah,
we
I
got
guess
it,
so.
When we got it home, it was like, oh my God, what did we do?
I bet they were saying, "Are you sure you want this one? This is 14."
They didn't say a word.
Really?
Oh, here, hey, have it fun.
No, yeah, they wanted you.
Take it home.
and it went right to the ceiling.
It did. We had a great time.
That's awesome.
Nuts.
It's amazing. It's an
And
amazing.
then eventually landscape, throws a little grass around, a couple of boulders. All the boulders came from numerous jobs and from the actual stone, what do they call them?
Quarry? No.
Hedgerows. that the original people who were here in the 1800s, they cleared off and there were barbed wire fences all over. This was a cattle area. There were cattle all throughout Leonard.
Pasture.
Leonard was actually a big cattle depot.
Wow.
Railroad came through, and Shoup Road
Yeah.
had a depot where they did the potatoes and things or whatever. It was a
That was the
drop-off.
Pollyant, right?
Pollyant train was actually a train.
For cattle?
Oh,
They had cattle
and lumber.
in this area, and so
So there were a bunch of cowboys
so
out here at one
all
time.
the stones were piled off in
Kettle farmers.
on property lines or whatever, and Leonard Road actually came up on top of this hill. And they came in later and put it down lower, but we have the old Leonard Road going right through, where we have the trail. So anyway, a lot of the boulders were dug up from here, and a lot came from other jobs where I did work for people. I'd bring them back my dump truck, brought back probably 15, 20 dump truck loads of boulders just from local areas. And I'd do a job, a septic field or whatever, and they would say, if you want some of the rocks, take them, and I would take them. So the whole patio area around the back, all these boulders here.
You could not get away with this in a non-rural setting. You could, because we stored so many things for so long. You could not do that if you take out a mortgage with the bank.
I had
and
piles
you're
of
suburban.
lumber stored with blue tarps on them, and somewhere there are aerial photos, of from outer space. I remember, seeing.
Oh, that's right.
Do a what do you call it? When you do a search for your home, and you can see
A satellite search?
from outer space, in piles of blue all over where the wood's stored.
Makes me feel better. It's kind of how my yard looks right now. It is hard to do, let me tell you, in a neighborhood.
It is.
My house always looks like chaos. There are
But how
trees
much-
everywhere. And
You don't even have an acre there, do you?
no, I have probably 0.17 acre or something. Truly,
It's
I mean,
small.
it's small. It's
It's
standard,
small.
whatever, 40 by 60 lot.
And a lot of it goes downhill
That's
at the
right.
back. You lose it. You've just
Yeah.
got height.
So I'm always trying to brainstorm ways of utilizing the space. Like, where can we put a wood storage spot? Is this summer's project, amongst others. But I gotta create something to keep the wood in, because right now it's all at a lot of it's at my dad's shop.
This is wood for carving.
For carving, yeah. And then who knows? But eventually I've got to get a space where I can do woodworking, so I can plan things and yeah.
You expand the deck.
Yes.
We should
build your little-
we should give Alec
Your house? That's a great idea.
piece of
I'll take it.
cedar that's laying at the cottage. It's about this big around, and it's a big arc, okay?
Yeah.
And on that arc, you should take the picture that Jackie has from the swamp with the turtles on top of that log.
And
you could
carve
take
them.
that and actually take that beautiful, it's all cedar, and carve.
The individual turtles, you
bunch
know
of-
how they line up on the log?
Yeah.
They were-
Yeah, they kind of try to balance on the water.
No, they line
crawl
up.
on the log is out of the water, and they crawl up on the log.
Oh,
And they
sure.
line right up on
I
the.
have a
Okay.
picture.
Put your phone, and you'll see.
I thought you were talking. You ever see when there's a floating log and the turtles are on top of it? They're trying to stay balanced.
Yeah, well, but this is actually.
This is hibernation, sunning, let's get warm. Kind
Right.
of.
I'm not sure if you're into carving, animals and things like that.
I've been enjoying it more. I think a lot of it.
Turtle wouldn't be so hard.
A lot of it is, it's fun.
I have 4 baby
And
chicks.
people love animals more than I do. People, that's
They
what
do.
they want to see animals. Oh yeah, cool. Here, I'll show them.
And that's just 3.
That would make a great
There are
carving.
usually 12 lined up.
No one steal this idea. In fact, I don't even want to show them.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Let's see. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, while I'm here, I'm going to scoot this back. Yeah.
That's another thing. We used to wonder if the children, we have 6, would be embarrassed to come and join us, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or any holiday, to come to this very modest beginning. I had given up a house, to come here.
Did they think you were crazy?
Yes. People say, what are you doing? You have a perfectly good house.
Yeah.
And you're out here with a hose for water and a porta potty and everything. Okay. Well, eventually we got that all in. Grandpa Bertolini needed to be taken care of. So we brought a hospital bed into the big bay.
Wow.
Parked it at the bottom of the stairs. John put cork wall covering up so that I could make what we call an I Love Me wall, all his pictures of family and memory.
Yeah.
And we put his TV in front of it. So he had this little sitting area and it was nice and warm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, then he had an operation and then he got sick and he had to go to the hospital. So we had to call the ambulance. And when they come in a rural area, it's everybody. The fire department, the police, the ambulance, because
people.
It's all a volunteer.
Because everybody that comes gets paid. So, you might
calls.
have 8-10 people show up with different vehicles, plus the police, plus the ambulance.
To get your dad?
Well, to any call.
Oh,
they all show up out here. Okay.
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh God, we've probably broken at least 7 health rules here. But but we push the button and the big bay opens up and the ambulance backs in and we close the bay. And they get out of the car and the policeman comes in and I thought, oh, hell. So I just sat down in Grandpa's wheelchair and I'm sitting there and he looks around. And he looks at the bridge up above and the curtains in the window and a hospital bed down below at the bottom of the stairs and all of this. And he said, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
You're worried he'll say, you can't have him here.
Yeah, right. So they lifted him up onto the gurney, rolled it into the ambulance in complete comfort, right?
It was warm and heated.
It was and we opened the door and they drove off and took him to the hospital. We went, well,
I love it.
That's a great idea. You can live at the bottom of the stairs in complete comfort.
Well, there's something so cool about that. I agree. I've always loved the idea of a mixed use space like that where you have an apartment built into a garage.
And the neighbors did too. It's a good way to start.
And that's how that, right?
Yeah, well, there's a whole...
The house we were talking about earlier.
The kid that... When we got to the point where the two of us couldn't do the next step, we had to hire a crew, and a friend of mine that I had
for the
helped me build
a
bunch of houses up and down the street that I built. I used him for the carpenter crew.
Yeah.
And so they had 6-7 guys, and we worked along with them. But putting all the 2x12, there was no trusses. It was all timbers and 2x12s. We used a crane, and so I'd be on one end of a 2x12, somebody's another end, and another person on top, and did the roof and everything. So the young son was kind of a young whippersnapper with his dad. At the time, this was in 2005, we put the roof on.
Yeah.
And so he was, quite young. Well, his dad is now retired, and he is now running the company, post-construction. So he saw what I did here and what I did next door, and he bought 17 or 20 acres, whatever, put a big driveway in, and built a building.
A very stylish.
A little bit bigger than this.
Wow.
And put an apartment in it, and he was going to put his construction stuff in it. His wife says, "No, you're not. That's our home."
You're kidding.
But it's a
it's hydronically heated, and it's the same kind of a concept on steroids, and that's his house.
So it's not a shop anymore.
No.
So he thought he was building himself a garage.
Yeah.
Wife said
but
no.
he runs the business out of it, so
Okay.
it's a dual purpose
in a home.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's smart.
Yeah.
To get that much use out of a space.
But you can't find anything like that, really. I mean, very rarely. Some people might find it, but we've been looking at houses since I was 22 years old or 21 years old, and I've only seen maybe one home that had that sort of like giant workshop attached to the home, and then atop the gallery in the front was a little apartment. And having that mixed use space is so cool.
You might have to go east.
But you can't afford it.
Or European.
Oh yeah, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Well, the Europeans do that all the time.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus they have multiple families, as when the parents are done raising their children,
Right.
they move to the very bottom floor or the main floor, and then
Right.
the kids, in order of birth, are on the other levels.
There's an Indian restaurant that's we love. We go to it all the time. It's called, well, I don't know if I should say it, but they live in this box. We thought it was the kitchen, but built into the building is this area we saw one day as we were driving away, that the workers would go into this little, it looked like a bunk room.
It's a home.
Yeah, they live in there and they have all these bunk beds and
Well,
the
thing
family
is,
lives there.
this country, everybody has to be isolated and be on their own.
Yep.
And the concept
have
of
their
a
own space.
family, if you would all pool all of your resources together and all live together
Yeah.
in a house and have multiple floors,
Yeah.
you could have so much more.
Right.
In this country, it's just, it just doesn't happen.
No, we're not
When I'm 18, I'm
collectivistic.
leaving home. I don't want to talk to you anymore, Mom, and I'm
Right.
on my own.
Right.
Rather than staying there and helping
Well-
nurture and continue the life cycle of the family.
Right.
And as the older people, need to have help now, and know where they go now. They go into a home, and no one comes to see them, and they die alone.
Yeah, right.
And you at least your
Yeah.
family took care of Grandma.
Yep.
We
She
took
stayed
care
in
of
their house.
my dad. you
Yeah.
know.
That is a European mindset too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the home is it. And no shame to people that put their parents in a home, because some folks, that's just the way it has to be for them,
It is.
Well,
And some are more-
sometimes it's so daunting. It's so hard.
Yeah.
The condition,
Yeah.
that you really can't
Take care of it.
manage it.
Right.
But for the most part,
Let them live with you.
But we think our
it's a sacrifice.
American independence is also an attempt to avoid conflict. Because there will be. You won't agree
Yeah.
with your parents, and there's that, I don't want to do things the way you did it, I'm leaving
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I lived with my parents until I was 22. On my 23rd birthday, that's around the time I bought my first house, my only house, the house I still own. I've owned it for nearly 5 years now.
It's been that
And-
long.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm glad.
So that's how long we've known him.
Yeah.
Well, actually before that, because
Yeah,
you were
6
still at
years
your
now.
mom's house.
Right. True.
But moving.
Yep.
You were getting ready to
In the
move.
process of moving. Yep. And so.
How did you know you were ready?
Well, I just had this. Since I was a teenager, I knew that I saw my older siblings. They stayed back a little longer, until they were my age, before they bought a house, or maybe a little younger than me, maybe 27, 26. And I just didn't like the idea. I wanted the independence, I wanted to be able to save to do that. But as soon as I had the money to leave, I was looking for homes. And my parents helped me, They were supportive, but I didn't want to live at home. But
There are other families where, you're right, the children stay a very long time.
yeah,
They don't leave. If they're single, they stay forever. And if they
Right.
get married, then maybe they leave.
right, yeah, and that didn't appeal to me. So I wanted to be independent. I wanted to have my own space. I liked the idea of living alone. That appealed to me. I thought that'd be fun, and I did. I liked it. There weren't really periods of time where I thought, oh, it's so lonely being alone. Every night I was out with friends or with family.
Well, you're very social, so that helped.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we fed you a lot.
Most of my meals came from here. Right?
That's right. You moved out of
Quite a
his
few of them
parents'
did.
home. Yeah.
I really lived here technically.
No,
Just kidding.
no, you did not.
No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so that's the gist of it.
Yep,
I appreciate you guys being willing to chat with me and hang out.
not a problem.
I'll have to do it
Yeah,
again.
that's fun.
Yeah.
We have scrapbooks. You can't film those, but we have scrapbooks from the beginning of the house
Yeah.
with all of
You have to
these
sit down
stories
someday
in them.
and take
Oh
it,
my
because you won't
God.
believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can actually see everything in steps, the
How?
entire process.
Of this place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll have to flip through those. I want to see that.
There's a lot of them. And we have, since the digital age, probably from 2014,
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
we have them all on our phone now. So I have to go through, edit it, and get some prints made.
Yeah.
So I can actually...
That'd be cool to frame, wouldn't it? To just have on your walls.
Well, just,
The
maybe...
process.
Maybe,
Oh
like...
my God.
Stages,
it
one
would-
big picture frame with
Well,
multiple
like,
pictures.
Then
maybe...
18 years it'd cover the whole.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to buy
Well, just one
wallpaper.
every couple of years.
Oh,
An example would be,
I could do that too.
one of the carvings, the process of carving, and then process of stamping and then the process of actually building the framing.
Right.
All
See,
you would
it would
need is
cover the whole wall.
just, a couple shots of each
True.
of the different things, not every tile.
Yeah.
I have probably 200 pictures of putting the floor down. I got,
Right.
the first couple of tiles in this room and then that section, just
We
the
finished this
document.
road today.
Because which is really cool, because it tells me the date at
Wow.
each of the steps.
Right. You can document.
And when
Because
we
we
started
can't remember.
started in January in that bathroom and finished in April. And so, all the tile, over 3,500 square feet of tile, went down.
And for any of those people who said, what is John going to do when he doesn't have the project anymore?
Yeah.
We have the beginning of an answer.
Huh.
And the beginning was this little glimmer that began to dawn on John when he realized that he had finished the house.
Yeah.
I mean, there are little things to
Yeah.
do, but we
It's-
finished
Yes.
the house.
I've been thinking about that too.
And so we kind of sat down with a cup of coffee, and part of what he's been doing is going back and doing the things he never had time for. He's been organizing the shop. We reorganized his wood stack. He's manufacturing small things out of leftover stuff.
Well, that table
The table was
took
using
a
up
week
the
to build
rest
a
of
table. This took a week to build this table.
Right.
It's not necessarily a week, but drying time,
Right.
the steps and gluing, and for the glue to dry, and that kind of stuff.
And then we had the experience of realizing it's not that smooth because we've both been into this for so long. So son Dave calls and says there's 35 acres for sale up by Goodhart where he is.
Yeah.
And we went up and looked at it. We went to the cottage and opened the cottage, went out there, fell in love with the place. Big open meadow surrounded by Nature Conservancy woods, can't be split, can't be built on. An orchard with 42 small trees in the next, a potato garden and a strawberry garden next to it. All of this. In 24 hours, we went back to the cottage. I drew up all the plans for how this was going to be and how everything was going to be connected. And I designed the whole thing. And we got all excited. And John said, this is energizing. I get energized. And then we came home. And we sat on the back porch and we looked out there. And John said, you know why we love that place? Because it looks just like home.
It's beautiful.
We don't have to do anything.
There's
We've got
probably
it.
Yeah.
of 35 acres,
That's hilarious.
half of it's forest and half of it's beautiful. And plus, you can see Lake Michigan from the top of the hill.
Just a little bit.
Not that we have a cottage in Lake Michigan already, so it's not like but it's still, the view is there. You're looking off, and it's because it's so high above Lake Michigan. It looks like the water goes up into the sky.
It does.
Because you're up looking at the water and you're seeing so far out that it looks like it's actually elevated above the land. It's not.
It's undeniably pretty,
neat.
but we had to come home and do the math.
Right.
Then we sort of settled that by saying, well, this is a financial investment. If we didn't do anything but just hold on to the land, it's going to increase in value. Okay. There's no water. The Nature Conservancy pays 25% of the taxes because it's considered agricultural. Taxes are $600 on 35 acres.
Wow.
They also pay the first 600 feet of electrical hookup, which would be
Right.
nice. That leaves a $40,000 for a well. I mean, you start adding all that.
Right.
So what if we didn't do anything? We just kind of took our money out of the bank that's not gaining any interest and put it in something that will.
Right.
And we're still kind of hanging there. But we lost our minds. I mean, this is our little slice of heaven.
Yeah. You really, what you did is you built the home that most people would want a vacation to, and more, and more. Because people often, think about Leonard, even up to my area over south of here, 10 minutes. This area, I feel like for a long time was a place where people would vacation.
On the lakes.
Right, the lakes. They would come to they might have a cottage out here.
Just come to the country.
They live in Detroit, and then they'd have a little cottage out this way.
Some of the wealthy people, like Addison Oaks, was a vacation spot for wealthy,
Okay.
so they could save on taxes and things.
Right.
Leonard's not a destination,
Right.
but
Right.
Well,
It's a
people who
refuge.
own
Yeah.
Addison Oaks actually own Skyscraper in Detroit. Did you know that?
No.
Addison Oaks is owned by a family that built one of the huge buildings in downtown.
Wow.
And so that whole property was their home. You know, and kind of like Meadowbrook.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And
Very cool.
that people was, the hell, what was, before she married Dodge. Dodge was a lumber
Oh, the lumber baron.
But before that she was part of automotive or something. I can't remember.
Matilda?
And this is Dodge of the Dodge Motor Company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah, and so that's an economic refuge for the wealthy.
right.
That's what they were doing.
Right.
And it's still that way. It's that way up north.
Right.
Travolta, Eminem, all those people. I
Right.
mean, very wealthy people up in Harbor Springs.
Yeah.
So the land is already worth more than what they would charge for it. You know, but
Well, you guys are always turning. You've always got. Whenever I'm over, there's always something on the horizon, new project, some exciting. And I think that's a lesson to people.
Well, you know, that people are saying, when are you going to retire?
we
Yeah.
did.
Retire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you stop doing what we're doing, it doesn't make any sense.
We did retire.
What I
We
meant is,
retired from that grind of going to work for
what I meant
somebody else.
is, you know, people
Right.
think it, you know, why don't you go on a vacation or why don't you
Permanent
you know,
vacation.
Yeah, go fishing
Pina
or
coladas
whatever.
and
You know,
fishing.
it's
Yeah,
like
the beach.
Yeah,
play golf,
Right.
that costs money.
hit the ball and chase it.
Right.
You know, watch Robin Williams.
Oh dear.
He does a skit.
The
Oh, I've seen it.
explanation of
The
the
one
golf.
about you know golf, you know, Ireland and grab a stick and you whack at it, you know, and you keep on whacking at it, and we'll call it a stroke,
Yeah.
you know, because you're going to hit it so many times you're going to have a stroke.
Yeah.
We'll call it a stroke, you know. I mean, and the guy, did you
I haven't
listen to
seen
that one?
Yeah.
Where he says, you know, the guy asked him, "Well, you're going to hit a ball into a hole," and you know that doesn't seem. No, it's 300 yards away. The hole. You know,
It's goofy, I
No,
think.
we're not going to do it once. We're going to do it 18 times.
Let's invent a game that you cannot win.
But the same sort of enjoyment that people get from golf, I feel like you guys get from accomplishing.
Yeah. See,
Building
to me,
function.
it's you know, I guess it's a challenge to hone the skills and everything. But
Yeah.
and then someone will say, well, why want to put on boards and come down a mountainside? You know, but
skiing?
it's the exhilaration. You know that you get your endorphins and
Yeah. It's
you know,
healthy
just-
for your brain. Right?
Oh,
It's good for you.
it's just a thrill to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also a thrill to build a table.
Yeah.
You know, or to carve a sculpture.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you get done, you look at it and say, look what I did.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the joy of life.
And that is a life lesson, right, that your dad gave you. I remember you telling me this a while ago, this idea of all you need to do for inspiration is look at what you've accomplished.
Yeah. Well, see, people do that when and this just drives me nuts, putting a puzzle together.
Yeah.
Somebody just took a picture, cut it into a million little pieces, and people will sit there and put it back together, and they get it all done. Probably the same sense of accomplishment, but to me, it's a waste of time, you know, because you have nothing when you get done unless you tape it together and put it on the wall as an accomplishment. But, you know, to me, it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to build something from nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it has a use too.
And you're taking a piece of wood that would be used in a fireplace
Right.
or put through a chipper,
Yeah.
and you turn it into artwork. You know,
Yeah.
or Dave Branch, who takes a stump that he finds at the edge of the road and turns it into a chair.
You can really
You know.
be comfortable and sit in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing. Yeah.
everybody's going to find their own passion.
That's why I wanted to highlight this is, you know, not everyone's going to be, very few people are going to be into carving. I mean, only a handful of people are interested in carving wood. But, you know, it's so easy for somebody who's in the trades to appreciate, you know, all of the individual trades that go into doing this. I mean, it's there's so many things that have to meet, so many meeting points to make this happen. And you have the art part of it, which is, you know, really it's like a giant sculpture. You know, that's the way I've always seen. Well, not always, but since knowing you, is like this is a big sculpture. You know, it really is that you get to walk around inside of, and you get to.
It is a creative
Live in.
endeavor. He
Hugely.
gets to practice mathematics
Yeah.
and spatial relationships and the labor
Yeah.
part of it, but the rest of it is thought.
Yeah, and sculpture is really just, it's a lot like building. You know, you start out with the structure, what's gonna, you know, what makes this thing what it is, and then you work outwards, and then you go to the surfaces, and you go to the finishing.
But there's also some basic knowledge.
Right.
I like it that you teach courses on the structure of the face.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know what you're working toward,
Right.
you won't know
Yeah.
what to take away. You won't know where it's going.
Right.
And there is a lot of knowledge, whether it comes from experience or otherwise, underneath everything that happens.
Right.
We're doing a podcast. You want to come in and join?
Speaking of art, our little art teacher stuck her.
We'll wrap this up. We'll wrap it up.
Wrap it up. I gotta explain to little daughter here what I did with her dirt.
All right.
Oh, you
Sounds
took it
good.
out?
Well, it was all waterlogged, so I made a pile of it on the concrete around the other side.
Oh.
So I saved it for her, but she doesn't know where it is. So.
Thanks a lot for doing it. I appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
Right. Well,
Alex,
this is fun.
that was nice.
You know,
It was.
I'm not sure it's going to be enlightening to anybody, but
Let us know if
Oh, yeah.
anybody, what people say.
Oh, well, you'll be able to see.
Or if we will.
Yeah.
Oh.
Say
Oh,
goodbye.
because we have to, bye. Say goodbye, John.
adios.
Say goodnight, dear. Yeah.